Dublin City, the city which holds more than 1.2 million people's homes and which has helped to educate up to 56.2% of people aged 15 to 39 into third level education. A small percentage of these people have reached the medical sector, becoming doctors, nurses or midwives. Currently, there are more than 35,000 people in Ireland who work in this sector, and most of these people cannot spot to see if you fall ill with one of the most fatal diseases in the world. Can you guess what it is? It's not AIDS, opioid, or any type of cancer. It's sepsis. Never heard of sepsis? Well, let me tell you a little bit about it. Sepsis is a potentially life-threatening condition, and it is caused by the body's response to an infection. Normally, the body releases chemicals into the bloodstream to fight an infection. Sepsis occurs when the body's response to these chemicals is out of balance, triggering changes that can damage multiple organ systems. Did you know that sepsis kills more than 3,000 people a year in Ireland? That's more deaths than prostate, breast and bowel cancer combined. On the first poll in Ireland for sepsis, 72% of people had admitted that they were unaware of what sepsis was. So how can you spot the signs of sepsis? It's quite simple once educated. If you feel the symptoms of slurred speech, extremely painful muscles, passing no urine within a day, severe breathlessness, feeling like I might die, and mottled or discoloured skin, then you may have sepsis. If you feel that you have felt all of the symptoms stated, visit your GP as soon as possible and just ask, could it be sepsis? With the population of Ireland being unaware to the killer disease sepsis, it has led to the tragic passing of Sean Hughes, a talented 15-year-old rapper from Finglas in Dublin. After the heavy impact to Sean's family, they went on to create their own awareness campaign in memory to their son, called LIL Red's Legacy. We met with the family in Finglas for them to tell us their story.
We're here today to try and empower you with the knowledge of how to spot the signs and symptoms of sepsis. And we need to know how to spot one of the biggest killers in the world and in the country. Well, Sean was an up-and-coming rap artist who wrote and performed all his own material. He produced his own album, which is called Rising Up. And his song, My Dream, was the #1 hit in the iTunes charts after he passed.
These rappers won't be me top tree. Keep my real means the most to me.
He performed in the Aviva Stadium, Croke Park, the National Concert Hall, the Finglas Festival, the Ballymun Festival, just to name a few. Sean's music can be heard on Facebook, SoundCloud and YouTube. He was a very fashion conscious young man. He loved to dress in the latest designer brands, and friends of Sean have called him their role model. He was quick to help others, and we're very proud to have had Sean as our son, even for them short few years. Sean engaged with everyone he came across. Sean was a confident young man and with an amazing personality. Sean met with Michael D. Higgins, the president, in his school and got the opportunity to present the president with a gift on that day. Sean would always make sure that everybody was included and not left out. And from a young age it was coming clear to me and Karen that Sean was going to be a leader. Sean had no underlying health issues. He was a healthy lad. And on Friday morning, 12th of January 2018, we lost our amazing son Sean Hughes, aka Little Red, due to sepsis. Sean was only 15 years old when he passed away. We never heard of sepsis before it took Sean from us, and now we're doing all that we can to raise awareness about sepsis. So this is the story of the week of the lead up to Sean's passing. On Monday the 8th of January, Sean came home from school and told his mum he wasn't feeling too well. He was displaying flu-like symptoms, which were similar to symptoms of a chest infection. A persistent cough, a crackling sound in his chest, breathlessness like shallow breathing, aches and pains in his muscles, and a high temperature. On Tuesday he was feeling slightly better. He was upstairs and Ma heard him on his iPad FaceTiming someone, and he was cracking jokes and laughing, and Karen thought he was on the mend. On Wednesday the 10th, Sean's mum Karen took Sean down to the family doctor. The doctor examined Sean and treated him for a chest infection with flu-like symptoms and prescribed Sean antibiotics. The family doctor stated that Sean had a high fever and a very bad chest infection. She was concerned that it might progress into pneumonia. Karen started Sean on the antibiotic immediately. However, with the severity of Sean's cough, it was impossible for him to keep the medication down. He was coughing up a lot of phlegm, and the antibiotic was coming up with the phlegm and the coughing. And he couldn't sleep that night at all. On Thursday night, January the 11th, 2018, Sean was sitting on the sofa in the sitting room watching TV with his ma. Karen was talking to Sean 1 minute, and the next minute he was unresponsive. Karen called for me as I was upstairs. I ran down the stairs and seeing Sean was unresponsive and not breathing. I removed Sean from the sofa and placed him on the floor, checked his airways and began CPR on my own son. Karen phoned for the ambulance. I continued to do CPR until the paramedics arrived. They took over and they asked to wait out in the hall. They asked, did Sean take anything? And our reply was he only took the antibiotics that the doctor prescribed him. The paramedics pushed Sean in the gurney and took him into the ambulance. They took him to Temple Street Hospital at 12:20 that night. We followed in the car as the ambulance drivers wouldn't let anybody into the ambulance with him. The doctors in A&E in Temple Street took us into the family room and we were asked Sean's medical history and if Sean had any underlying health issues. Again, we told him Sean was a healthy young man treated with antibiotics for a chest infection by the family doctor. The doctors in the hospital were baffled. They'd no clue what was wrong with Sean. One doctor told us that if Sean wants to survive, that there would be some brain damage as a result of the lack of oxygen to his brain. Again, after another while, we were told by one of the doctors wanted to do an MRI on Sean and took him up in the intensive care unit. They also mentioned at that time that we might like to bring some family and friends and have them around us because they said all the indications were that Sean wouldn't pull through and that it's only a matter of hours until he passes away. We placed our trust in a lot of people. We trusted the GP, the family general practitioner, that didn't spot sepsis in Sean. We trusted the paramedics, trained professionals, they didn't spot sepsis either. And we trusted the hospital doctors, and they failed to diagnose sepsis with Sean. They all let Sean down. None of them spotted that Sean was displaying the signs and symptoms of sepsis. These are trained medical professionals. The big thing was that nobody seemed to know anything about sepsis. We as parents heard the word sepsis, never heard the word sepsis before it stole Sean from us. And shockingly, some of our research has shown that 72% of the Irish population don't have an accurate understanding of what sepsis is. And now we know that sepsis is one of the largest killer of children in the world. We went online to learn about sepsis and we found the HSE website, and for the majority it was geared towards healthcare professionals. Lay people like myself and Karen wouldn't understand the medical jargon that's on that website. It was very hard to understand. We had to get our information from the UK and the US sepsis websites. As I said, now we know that it's the largest killer of children in the world. Well, Sean passed away on the 12th of January 2018 and he was 6 months away from his 16th birthday. And our world will never be the same again. Sean had a wake and a send-off that we know he would have been very proud of. Sean's funeral received the guard of honour from all his classmates and friends. And the songs were played inside and outside the church, as the church was so full with so many people that they had to pay their respects from outside. Only the best for the best. We received a letter of condolences from Michael D. Higgins and his wife Sabina. And in the letter they told us that they remembered Sean fondly from the school. And they commented on his personality and his character. Shortly after that, President Higgins made an unofficial visit to our home. And it was a very memorable day. After that then, we were invited to his home with 10 of Sean's friends and family, and that was a very nice day too. We were officially informed at Sean's inquest that the cause of his death was sepsis. We'd never heard of sepsis before this. We were never educated on the killer called sepsis, which stole our son's life. At no time was the word sepsis ever mentioned to me or Karen by any doctors, the paramedics or the hospital doctors. And we're educating ourselves now about sepsis. And we're shocked at the lack of public awareness in Ireland around this global medical emergency. Sepsis isn't a big thing, it's easily treated with antibiotics, fluids and oxygen. The main thing is early recognition of sepsis, and that's why we've started our LIL Legacy Sepsis Awareness campaign, because once it's recognised, early diagnosis equals better outcomes. Some of the little facts there about sepsis that we find jaw-dropping through our research. 3,000 Irish people a year die from sepsis. That's an average of 7 people a day in Ireland die from sepsis. Something that we haven't heard that about. And that's only what's recorded. Sometimes if somebody dies in hospital, it's complications of pneumonia or something else would be put on the death certificate, when in matter of fact it is sepsis. So them figures would be much higher. Again, sepsis doesn't discriminate against age, gender, how strong you are, how weak you are, a low immune system. It doesn't. When we asked the HSE why is this the case, that there's no information out there in the doctor's offices, their reply was they don't have money in the 2019 budget for a sepsis awareness campaign, but they hope to have it in the 2020 budget. Well, he said that's perfect, that's great, but you do know 7 people a day die from sepsis, so in that year another 3,000 people will die, and there's no awareness. The public, parents need to know, this information needs to be in their parents' hands. And I said, well, that's perfect that you're hoping to have it in the 2020 budget, but where is the existing stuff? Where is it in the 2015, 2016, 2017? Why isn't there already stuff out there? They said they did have stuff. We asked them to send it out to us, and it was overcomplicated. It was, you couldn't read it. It was written by someone straight out of medical college. A terminology that normal people would not understand. You would have to be a nurse or a doctor to understand some of the terminology in the leaflets the HSE had. And they weren't in doctors' offices. We had to ask for them. One of the other things we came across then was in the Isle of Man, the population of 85,000 people in the Isle of Man. And the population here in Ireland is just over 4.5 million. And in the Isle of Man they have could it be sepsis on the side of their buses, signs and symptoms of sepsis on their ambulances. We've been in touch with the HSE and we've asked, could we have that level, the Irish public deserved that level of awareness, can we put it on the ambulances, and we were told no. Some things hit you when we're sitting at home and we're talking. Sean is we always talk about him. And we say, look, it's shocking to think that there's more sepsis, there's more life-saving sepsis awareness information in our house, in our little house, than there is in all of Ireland combined. And you have to wonder why. There's no glory in what we're doing. We don't care if it's the HSE or the man next door or the man on the moon that is informing people about sepsis. Let's get it out there. It has to be done. You go into doctors' offices and there's walls full of pamphlets and leaflets from head lice to heart attack to diabetes to foot care to stroke. Nothing about sepsis. Same in the hospitals, nothing about sepsis. So you're sitting there in the waiting room and you're going to pick something up, like something as simple as that, with the infographics on it. You know, you need information through graphics is going to grab somebody's attention rather than reading a big leaflet with hard to understand words in it, you know. One of the many highlights of the LIL Legacy Sepsis Awareness campaign is that we were contacted by up to 5 different people, weren't we?
Yeah.
What do you want?
5 different people contacted us to say that their lives have changed because of Sean. Because of Sean's story on social media and in the papers, and one woman contacted me and said that her daughter's life was saved because of Sean's story, because she had the signs and symptoms of sepsis, and she asked the wards could it be sepsis when she got into the hospital, and it was, and her daughter's life was saved. Another girl contacted Joe to say she was very sick at Christmas time and her daughter could have been motherless, only that she had seen Sean's face on Facebook probably 5 or 6 times with different posts, and said to herself, look, I'm going to go into the hospital, and she was very lucky that she did because she had contracted sepsis. So there was about 3 other people then after that contacted us as well to say that they asked a question when they got into the hospital, could it be sepsis? All through Sean's story. So we're making some difference. Well, Sean is making some difference.
And again, we've been in touch with the HSE. We've asked them where is their sepsis awareness campaign. We've written to the Minister for Health twice, and twice we got the same reply, but just paragraphed differently. So his reply was, well, the HSE are doing enough. They have had a great success at a stand at the National Ploughing Championships in 2018. They have had a sepsis awareness programme on prime time on RTE, and that they have had initiatives in the Garda stations and shopping centres. So we wrote back to them and we said, that's all great that you're doing all that, but there's nobody that we know and in our community of Finglas and the wider community of Dublin would be at the National Ploughing Championships. You wouldn't be in a Garda station unless you're getting your passport stamped or something like that. You wouldn't be, would that taxpayers' money have been better put to use if you'd have done that in schools, in clinics, in doctors' offices, where it would be in youth groups, in sports groups, sports clubs, where it would have been better received. So we're now with the Little Red's Legacy Sepsis Awareness campaign. Some of the achievements. But we've had our own posters made up on the T-shirts. We had a sepsis awareness event last year in the Mansion House, and that coincided with Sean's 1st anniversary. And one of the reporters speaking to us that night saying, "Do you think it's a success?" And I said, "Well, there's 70 or 80 people in that room that would know more about sepsis when they're leaving than they did when they entered the room." So yeah, it has been a success. We have another one lined up now for World Sepsis Day, the 13th September this year. Some of the achievements again of the campaign is we're being invited into the Mansion House this year on World Sepsis Day to illuminate the building. So a lot of the government buildings are going to be illuminated in the World Sepsis Day colour, which is magenta. So people can't get it turned to red, but they have their own colour. And myself and Karen are going to go in, and we're being invited in to turn on the lights that night. And we've had the campaign posters on Dublin bus, a lot of the Dublin buses, Lloyd's Pharmacy Group nationwide in all their stores and their social media platforms. Local chemists, local stores and business owners are proudly displaying the life-saving information. And there's other things moving in that. So we're going to schools and we've been invited to schools, giving the sepsis awareness talk, and that's been greatly received.